Hey honeys, and welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Bree. If you know me from social media, you know me as Honey Bree. And yeah, this is my channel. So I wanted to make my first video about a question that I actually asked on my Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, about a week ago, I put up a questions for, what is it that you guys want to know about moving away from home? So if you don't know, I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. I lived in Atlanta for 3.5 years, and then I moved to Arizona, and I've done them both essentially all by myself. So I get a lot of questions of people DMing me wanting to know how I did it. Did I know people before? What was my budget? Things like that. And so I figured instead of just putting them all like on my story, it would be so much easier if I just made a video and answer all the questions like at one time. So today's video is going to be about moving away after college, moving away on your own, moving across the country. Just pretty much my top 5 tips and tricks on what to do if you're thinking about moving away from home and doing it all on your own. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, and I'm just gonna be referencing my iPad for the questions and things that I wrote down. So that's what I'm gonna be doing if you see me like looking down. Okay, tip number 1 is know where you want to move and why. And I guess the know where you want to is more obvious than like the why, but the why is super important. Are you moving to a new city or to a new state because it looks trendy on social media and maybe you see social media influencers that live there and it looks so cool, but you don't actually know why you want to live there? Are you moving there, like I said, just for the hype? Is it going to be for work? Is it for school? Is it to further your career? Or essentially, is it just to go and have fun for a couple years? When I moved to Atlanta, my why was literally just to have fun and build connections. I knew that Atlanta was not going to be my permanent place forever. I knew I didn't want to live there forever. That's not where I wanted to settle down and have a family. It was just, I graduated college. I had just turned 22 2 weeks before, and I wanted to move to a fun new city. So that's essentially why I moved to Atlanta, and I knew that was my fun. Now for moving to Phoenix, Arizona, I knew that this is where I wanted to settle down. This was the city that I felt was so peaceful that okay, now I've had my fun in my earlier 20s. This is where I kind of want to build my foundation, and this is where I could really see myself living forever, versus that's not what I saw for myself in Atlanta. Visit at least twice anywhere that you go. I think that was one thing about Atlanta that I did do. I only visited Atlanta once before I moved. And I did half of the trip business. I was there for interviews for jobs that I was applying for. And then I spent the second half of the trip really exploring the city, going out, and finding places that I like to realize is this the place that I even want to live at? So definitely visit twice. Go once for business, and when I say business, I mean look for apartments, know where you want to live, do some research, go down there with a plan. If you are going to apply for jobs, if you're self-employed, how are you going to build clientele? Go one trip specifically for business, get things done, and then go another trip just to have fun. Now find places and reasons why you're going to actually like living there and what's going to get you through the tough days. My tip number 2 in my do and don't, I would say, is start saving now. Do not move with nothing in your pocket. I moved to Atlanta like that, and although it was fine, it's not fine. Your girl was broke. Insufficient funds. You ain't got no money. I would essentially really recommend moving with at least 3 months of your rent saved up, and that's for any possibility. We have all been through the pandemic. We have seen it come alive where people have lost their jobs and situations have happened. So if you're going to take the leap to move to a new city, I would definitely, even if you have a job and it's secured, and everything's ready to go, you just never know what life may bring. And emergency situations, if you have a car, and your car, we all know cars like to act funny the minute life starts going good. So if you have a car, you just never know if that situation is going to happen. Like I said, if you lose your job or if you need to take time off, things like that. So I would recommend just essentially having 3 months worth of rent saved up in your account. I did not. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this in order to move. I would not recommend doing it the way that I did when I moved to Atlanta. I had just enough to pay my move-in fees, and that was it. I literally had to finance a mattress. That means like I took my behind down to Big Lots, y'all, and I got a mattress and a box spring, and I was able to like make payments on it. I literally did not have any money for even for a mattress. So I would recommend just saving up, just having that money to yourself. That's not for furniture. That's not for, you know, actual bills at the moment. That's just like, that's sitting there. That way, you know, you have it. And that way, if something goes wrong, the next 3 months of your rent is at least covered. So the next one is super, super important along with like saving up, but like be honest with yourself about your budget. Do not move to a new city and go immediately for like, for all my girlies, like don't go for that like it girl lifestyle if that's truly not in your budget at the moment. When I moved to Atlanta at the age of 22, like the it girl lifestyle was not in my budget, you know, but I had a decent apartment. I did have an island in my kitchen.
Ooh, this is nice.
So I felt really good about that, but it was still affordable. I would still say honestly, like it was a little bit above my means because my rent was 50% of my income at the time. So like literally just 50% of my income was going to rent. And then I had to use whatever income was left for like other bills and then surviving like groceries, gas, you know, everything else. So I would make sure that like, know your budget, like be honest with yourself about what you can afford and don't try to do too much right away. Like if you're moving on your own to a brand new city, there is no need to go for like a 3-bedroom high-rise luxury apartment that is going to cost you, you know, $2,000, $2,500. And that's just not something that you even need right now or you can even afford. I chose not to even furnish my first apartment in Atlanta because I knew that apartment that I moved into was temporary. So I knew that that first apartment was just like, I needed to get down there. Like I got my apartment secured. I had a job secured. So I just picked a place, but I didn't care to spend money on like picking the right aesthetics or furniture for it because for one, I knew my budget and I knew really buying furniture wasn't something that I cared about. I knew that I was moving, like when that lease ended, I didn't have to like lug a bunch of furniture across town when I decided to move to a different complex. So I just chose to have my basic necessities. I moved to Atlanta and I didn't know anyone. So I chose just to have my basic necessities when I moved. No one was coming over my apartment. I didn't know anyone. Even when I was making friends, I was going out to hang out. So I wasn't having people over in my space because for one, I'm not big on a lot of people in my space, especially if I don't know you. And for two, I didn't have any furniture. Like where was he gonna sit, girl? On the floor? But shout out to the couple of friends that I did have, that I did trust enough to come over, because y'all definitely sat on the floor with me and we would drink and play Uno. Shout out to y'all. Y'all know who y'all are. Y'all are the real ones who know about my first year in Atlanta and met your girl before your girl was a girl of luxury and everything else. Your girl was eating pizza rolls on the middle of the floor and watching TV on my projector. So just know your budget and just know what you're signing up for and just know that like those things will come. If your biggest goal is moving, remember that's the goal. The goal is to get there, to get settled, make sure you got that job. And then the rest of the things can come later in terms of like building that luxury apartment and getting all of your cute aesthetics and things like that. After that 12-month lease was up, I did move and I completely furnished my next apartment. First year, I was young. I was 22. I was not pressed. There was nobody to impress. You know, I was just like, my goal is to get down here and do something a lot of people ain't doing, which is moving to a whole new state, a whole new city on my own at 22 and having fun. So that's what I did. But of course, your girl was good and grown when I moved to Phoenix. So I was definitely furnished. Okay, tip number 4, and probably the question that I literally get the most is like, did I have friends when I moved here? Did I know people? How did I make friends? So the simple answer is like, no, I really didn't know anyone when I moved to Atlanta or when I moved to Phoenix. That's a simple answer to give you guys. Essentially, no. Like I knew 2 people that lived in Atlanta, but we never hung out. And I knew one person that lived in Phoenix, but wasn't living in Phoenix at the time. So essentially, no. I would say when making friends, the first place that I started was like coworkers. Like if you can obviously like find a coworker that at least you can just go grab drinks with or lunch or brunch, you know, it doesn't have to become your bestie, you know, work friends are work friends. But if you can find someone that you can trust at least to get out and be social, if that matters to you, then definitely do that. For me in the beginning, in full transparency, it was a little lonely, but I'm a homebody, so I was okay with the loneliness. I didn't start to feel lonely until like, honestly, my mom made it seem like it was a problem because I was like just literally in the house every single day. Just like watching TV, y'all, and eating. So my mom got like a little concerned, like, all right, girl, like, you know, she was just concerned about my social life and my well-being. And I was like, okay, let me, you know, try to make friends and things like that. So I actually made friends with coworkers. Easy for girls, I guess I would say, to just walk up to someone and be like, oh my God, you're so pretty. I love your hair. I love this about you. Like, hey, I'm new to the city. You know, I would love to maybe hang out sometime. I'm just trying to get to know people. Like, you know, what's your Instagram? Just start exchanging Instagrams so you can also see like when events are happening. Two big ways outside of just like being bold and talking to people, or, you know, making friends with coworkers, I would say, is go to networking events. Atlanta has a lot of networking events. If you're thinking about moving there, or it's like another major city, they should have a lot of like casual networking events, especially if you are trying to find your career and you didn't move away for your job. A networking event is a great like 2-for-1. Meet people that you can be social with and hang out with, but also that can like plug you in and help you with career opportunities. Work, being bold, networking events. The last way that I would say you can make friends would be on essentially dating apps. And yes, I will be transparent that like I have friends that I met off of Tinder. Now, I don't know if you're a man, you know what it's like. I mean, I'm sure you guys are not on dating apps like trying to like make friends. I don't know what that world is like, but I know personally for me, there are plenty of girls, women, like on Tinder and other social media or dating apps that you can make friends with. Like, there are girls whose bios will essentially be like looking for girls to be friends with that want to go to brunch or hiking or whatever, blah blah blah. Like, so I can only really speak for the girls right now. So girls, yes, you can. I would always recommend to be safe, always meet like in public during the day, you know, definitely just to start off. Don't invite people to your house. Don't go to anyone else's house. Drive separately. Like, be conscious, of course, when you're out, even if you're meeting with girls, you know, even if it seems like they're a cool person, always just double check your safety and your surroundings, and just take care of yourself. But yes, try dating apps. Definitely try Tinder. I think Bumble has like a BFF now, I've heard. But I will tell you, to this day, there are friends that I've had that I've been close with, that I literally met off of Tinder, and it was no more than like literally just be my friend. Like, literally, they're out there. Just make sure you find the ones with just good intentions to be your friends. But do not sleep on finding friends on dating apps. Don't sleep on that. It's another way to be social. The last like bonus tip that I'm gonna give you guys is give yourself a full year before you decide to move back home. Unless extreme circumstances where you just absolutely can't afford it, you've lost your job, you can't get another job, you know, you have nowhere to live, you have no way to survive. If you have a job and your bills are paid, give yourself a full year before you decide to just up and root yourself back home. It is so easy for us to just resort back to our comfort zones than it is for us to push ourselves in places where we are uncomfortable. The best advice I got when I was thinking about moving to Atlanta was literally like, if you can survive a full year, then you're good. Like, make it through 1 year and you can do it. So that's what kept me going, was just like, get through the year. When times got hard, you guys, like, I got fired from 2 jobs while living in Atlanta, like over the course of the 3.5 years. But the first one was like in the first 3 months that I lived down there. I almost got evicted. Your girl saw one of them big orange eviction notices on the door. And I was like, whoop, it's getting real. Do not let your pride get in the way of reaching out for help, for friends or for family or whatever it is, and those that you have a strong support system behind you. And also, do not be afraid to just work your butt off and maintain it. Even if you're not having fun. Like I said, for me, I knew Atlanta was not my forever, but I knew I wasn't gonna go back home to Ohio. Like, that was not an option. Even if you know that place is not your forever and you're not the happiest while you're there and you're having a hard time making friends, push through, for the simple fact of getting outside of your comfort zone, how much you can learn about yourself, how much you can learn about the world when you just move away from home for a little bit. And then once you survive that full year, you don't have to go back home. You'll know that you've made it 12 months without being at home on your own. You can go try another city. There are 50 states and however many cities per state. Like, there are so many other options than just going back home. If you got enough to survive and your mental health and your physical and your spiritual and your emotional well-being is not at stake, I would say stay. Stick it out until your first year is up. And then if you decide to go back home after 1 year, great. But most likely, if you survive 12 months in a new city or a new state, you are going to want to keep going. The idea is just to make a life for yourself and just know that you have to live for you. Make it a full year, survive it out, push through if you can, push past your limits. Know that you can do something that you've never done before, and know that there's a reason why you did it. That's why you have to start with your why. There's a reason why you did what you did. So just always go back to your why and just give yourself a full year before you decide to pack up and go home, because you're going to know so much about yourself. You're going to have so much more strength and being able to know that you did it. So that wraps up this video, you guys. I hope that was helpful for anyone that is thinking about moving away, thinking about branching out and going to a new city and wanting to do it on your own. There is so much more that I could talk about. Like, obviously there are details. Like, I have literally not lived at home essentially since I was 18, because I also lived in a different state for college. So if there are more questions, feel free to comment them down below. This is a space of positivity and light, so please leave something positive for me in the comments as well, and for others who may be thinking about moving away from home. There's a part 2 to this video that you guys would like to see. Let me know. Happy to do so, and I hope that your journey is prosperous, and many blessings to all of you as you are heading out and hopefully getting that chance to get out into a new city. So let me know if you end up doing it. Let me know what tips really like resonated for you and you're like, yeah girl, I needed to hear that. God didn't have to do what he did when he made you, but he did it. So remember that and know your power. Follow me on social media at HNYBRI. That is me literally everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, here. So and I will catch you guys in the next video. Mwah. Love.